Hello people of YouTube, it's Deepak here, and welcome to DCS World 2.9.7 and Eagle Dynamics CH-47F Chinook module. Welcome to a video all about cargo, and in this case, internal cargo. This is not a tutorial series as yet. The Chinook is still very early access in DCS, but I thought it'd be a bit of fun to demonstrate what we can do with cargo. In this instance, the cargo that can be loaded internally into the helicopter. In a future video, I will demonstrate sling loading, which is another exciting capability of the Chinook. So, internal cargo can be loaded via the rear ramp into the interior of the helicopter. And you can do that with static cargoes, which are cargoes that are designed to be part of your mission in a static fashion, or alternatively we have an option called dynamic cargo now, which it ties directly into the warehousing and logistics system of DCS, and it allows you to, in a dynamic fashion, create cargoes that incorporate things like fuel and ammunition and so on, directly from the stores that are in different airfields, and transport those from airfield to airfield, and actually have them update the logistics of those particular locations. So, that's a bit of fun. Before we proceed, for some reason this mission has a lot of beeping going on. Let's see if we can reduce that. We've got RWR, that's a spare. FM2, I'll get rid of that. HF, get rid of that. UHF, FM1. I'm actually not sure which one of these is making the damn noise. Let's see if I can get rid of some of this. Nope, it's still making noise. Oh well, fair enough. We're going to have to just leave that doing what it's doing. Apparently we can't make that be quiet. I guess I could actually just turn the radio off. Yep, okay, apparently we have no ability to turn that off. I don't know if that's a limitation of the current early access version of the game or not. In any case, let's take a look at static cargo. You can see that behind my helicopter here, I have a variety of cargo defined. If we now go ahead and go into ground crew menu, and in the standard rearm and refuel, you'll see that we now have cargo with an up arrow as a button, and cargo with a down arrow as a button. The up arrow one will allow us to load cargoes, and the down arrow one will allow us to unload cargoes. We're going to go ahead and look at loading the cargo that's here. We've got static ammo, barrels, and more static ammo. You can see them represented here. Now note that just now, with the ramp closed, I cannot actually load any of these. The game enforces, in a somewhat realistic fashion, that you must in fact have the ramp open. Now note that the ramp can actually go through 5 different stages of kind of position. We're currently in stage 1, which is fully closed. If I press left shift and G, that will tell the cargo chappie to go down a stage, or lower a stage. So that puts us to stage 2, which is tongue open. This is the cargo tongue. I'm guessing on a warm day you might fly with it in this configuration. This doesn't really do you any good for loading and unloading. If I press Shift and G again, we'll go to stage 3, which is the ramp lowered to be in line with the cargo deck. And I think at this stage we can actually load stuff. Let's actually test that theory. Because in the real world, at this point, you'd be able to load as long as you had like a forklift or something. No, the game doesn't let us do that. Okay, that's unfortunate. So Shift and G again is going to get us to stage 4, which is ramp on the ground. Let's see if it actually allows us to do it at this point. We'll see when we load that static cargo. Nope, still doesn't allow us to do it. So that's interesting, because with equipment we should be able to do it at this stage. Shift and G again is going to put us to stage 5, which is the ramp extensions are now extended. And this is the ramp in its fully down position. Please note that you can also do left alt and G to go into this fully down position directly, or you can do control alt, that's left alt and G to go all the way closed from this position, and it'll take us through all of the stages one by one. Let's just wait for it to go through that cycle. Sticking out its tongue, and then it will fully close. Plunk, that's us, we're all sealed up again. And then we also have the command left alt and G to go all the way down. Also note that you have the option to do left control in G to go up one stage at a time. So I'm just going to fully extend this now, and that should get us ready to actually load cargo. Ramps down, extensions are out. Let's go ahead and speak to the ground crew, and we should now be able to select each one of these things and say load. That's one on. You'll notice the helicopter kind of shifted very slightly there, and it's now physically represented inside. Also, if you were looking at the rearm menu, you would notice that our maximum, our current aircraft weight did actually change. So let's go ahead and load the rest of this stuff on here. Load, 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 and load. And we can close that window now, and you can now see all of the cargo is now graphically represented in the hold. There's nothing behind us anymore, and we could now close up the helicopter. So that's Control-Alt-G. We'll do a full close operation, and we would then be ready to go on our way with this cargo on board. Now, to unload is almost exactly the same procedure. Again, I would need to make sure my ramp is open and go to ground crew, rearm and refuel, and you'll see this cargo with a down arrow. It now shows us what items are inside the helicopter. I could select any one of these and choose unload, but of course with the ramp up, that's not possible. So we're going to do Shift-Alt-G, and that's going to fully open the ramp. Or at least it would if it was paying any attention to me. There we go. I guess with that window open it won't work. If I go into the interior view and press number 6 for the Loadmaster, I can even observe this process from the inside as well. Bloop. Okay, we're now ready for loading and unloading operations, and note that, yep, we've got a bunch of cargo sitting here right now. So yeah, if I go to the unload menu, I could offload these one by one. Note that you can only offload the cargo that's closest to the back. So you kind of have to unload in the opposite order to the order in which you loaded. And that is the whole process. One thing to note, for some reason, the keyboard commands for like raising and lowering the ramp do not work when you're in this view. So when you're the Loadmaster, you can't use those commands. Even if you go to F2, it still won't work. We have to go back to F1 and go back to the pilot's position, and then Control-Alt-G, then those commands will work normally. So you have to be the pilot, unfortunately, for these to work. Excellent, so that's the entire process with static cargo. Oh, someone's just crashed. Fantastic. Well done, DCS AI. Yeah, that's the entire process for static cargo. Let me reset, and I will demonstrate how we do this with dynamic cargo. Okay, you rejoin me in the mission editor, and this is the very mission that we were just flying, and you can see here we have this statically defined cargo. This is the stuff that we were making use of before. This is very easy. You simply place static objects of category cargo, and then it can be basically whatever you want it to be, and just make sure that you set the can be cargo tick box, and make sure that the mass is correct for what it is you're going to transport. However, that is a completely static system. It's not any good for things like multiplayer missions and things like that, where you might have the requirement to transport actual logistics items like fuel and ammunition from place to place. You say you need to resupply a FARP. So how do you actually do that? Well, we go ahead and we click on the airfield or FARP in question. In this case, we've got Senaki Kolki. You'll see that we've got warehouse in airport shown on the right-hand side. We need to go ahead and click full info, and we will then get the complete the complete system for logistics. We can see the current values for everything that that this place is storing. It has aircraft, it has liquids, it has equipment. This is basically the entirety of what's in the warehouses of this particular airfield. And what we need to make sure we do is we need to make sure we tick this box here that says dynamic cargo. If I tick this box for this airfield, I then need to also make sure that I tick it for any airfield I might want to transport stuff to. So if I now click on Kutaisi and go full info, let's say I wanted to, as part of this mission, transfer stuff from Senaki to Kutaisi, I don't know how you say that. I need to tick the box for dynamic cargo here as well. I also need to make sure that the cargoes that I'm going to transport from place to place actually exist at these locations in sufficient quantities. So just be aware of that as well. Now that I've done that, I'm going to save my mission and go ahead and fly it. And once we get into the actual mission itself, I'll show you how we actually spawn these dynamic cargoes now that we've enabled that functionality. There's going to be an extra button in the cargo window which was not present before, and I will show you how that works. Because if you don't turn this on, you only have the option of static cargoes. So there we go, there's our static cargo just as before. Let's go ahead and open the ramp so that we can do our business. I'm going to fully open that ramp just now. Let's give it a moment. Oh, there's some F5s doing their business. Very cool. Very cool to see them in action. Cool, ramp is now fully open. We can, as before, go to ground crew, rearm and refuel, and cargo loading. You'll now notice that we have this plus button, which was not there before. Actually, give me a moment. These cargoes immediately loaded into the helicopter. I don't know why they did that. I actually didn't want that to happen. Give me a moment. Actually, no, let's leave them in. Let's leave them in. We have enough space for this. So we've got a bunch of stuff already in there. Can we get one more item in there? Actually, I don't think we can. I think we need to offload at least one thing for this to actually work. So let's go to cargo offload. Let's offload the last item that we loaded. That'll give us a bit more space. We can now press this plus, and we get this new cargo resources window, and we can decide what we want to actually load. And you can actually choose what you want it to look like. So in this case, I'm going to choose a container, and inside this container, I'm going to load some bombs. So let's have a little look here. Let's take Mark 82s. Let's say we're going to transport 20 Mark 82s, and then we're going to click OK. And that's now spawned this brand new package, it's calling it. And if I close this window and spin around, there you go. There's the container that I've dynamically created, and I've loaded bombs into it. If I chose that and hit load, hopefully... Nah, it's not going to load. Okay, we don't have enough space, so we're going to have to offload some of the items that are already in the chopper. Let's try this now. Okay, it may be the case that I've chosen a container that is too large. When we look at this, we can see actually it's a bit too big. So let's make another one. Let's make it somewhat different. Ammo. Let's make it an ammo crate. And maybe that was too many. Let's try just 10 Mark 82s. I don't know what difference that will make. Yes, that one loaded. Okay, so there you go. We created a dynamic cargo. Let's actually come back out of that again. We created a dynamic cargo. We can now travel somewhere else and actually offload that. And the cool thing will be is that we'll actually have more of that item at the destination than was originally there. So, for example, can I actually... No, I don't have the ability to load bombs onto this particular aircraft, so we can't actually see how many of that particular item were available at this location to begin with. But if we had another aircraft, you would see that we were missing 10 bombs from the warehouse at this particular location, and then as I unload, it would then produce 10 bombs at this location. And that's the ability to resupply the location using dynamic cargo. And that is, in fact, the entirety of the internal cargo system. Next time, we'll take a little look at external or sling-loaded cargo. Okay, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. If you'd like to further support me and the channel, you have the option of joining Deephack's ground crew. For a small monthly fee, not much more than a cup of coffee, you can help me in creating this content. I really appreciate those of you who've already done so. There's a few small benefits if you do so. You get to join the Deephack's ground crew Discord server, where we can all hang out and chat, and also I occasionally do flights together. I've also started uploading some of the mission files as well. And of course, apart from that, you just know that you're helping me out. But otherwise, everybody should subscribe, like, and comment, and thank you all so very much for watching. See you next time. Bye.